Auspicious greetings to venerables, speakers, guests, and everyone in all 10 directions. We as human beings in this realm has never been freed from crisis. The recent COVID-19 has disrupted lives and livelihoods significantly. The geopolitical environment across the world seems to be increasingly unstable. Our Mother Earth is experiencing increasing occurrence of natural disasters driven by climate change and global warming. The teachings of the Buddha have always been focused on helping humans to be a better person, a better child, a better parent, a better citizen, a better team player, a better leader, and ultimately to be an awakened being across the 6 cyclic realms. With great compassion to ourselves and all beings in this world, we need to get ourselves better prepared to face future crises. Such a position does not imply that we are passively waiting for crisis to happen, but acknowledges the presence of apparently unknown collective karmic forces that seem to drive the occurrence of black swan events. It is neither a position of being constantly anxious of our future, but instead, it is a call that encourages us to come together to transform our future and mitigate the likelihood and severity of future crises. And the teachings of the Buddha for us as humans, that is Humanistic Buddhism, offer us some useful insights in this space. In the introduction, I talk briefly at the 3 key challenges that humanity is facing right now: COVID-19, geopolitical tensions, and climate change. There isn't a need for me to add further commentary specific to these 3 issues. There are already plenty of commentaries, hypotheses, recommendations, perspectives, debate, arguments, counter-arguments on all these issues, plus the fact that I'm not an expert in these areas. But one thing I know from the Buddha's teachings that might be relevant across these 3 issues is our collective karma. The intention is not to blame the occurrence of these unfortunate issues to collective karma and then start the process of blaming each other and the whole world for these issues. I think such conversations are plain futile. The intention instead is to encourage us to dwell deeper in our reflection on how our own specific karma is intertwined in the complex network of actions and responses with others. Such a reflection is the key to encourage us to constantly ask this question: how can we contribute a little every day in transforming the current situation? I think the public discourse has been overwhelmed with what others should be doing, what the government should be doing, what the organizations should be doing, what our youth should be doing, what the rich should be doing. Ironically, it is getting harder to find articles where authors confess to the audience on what they should be doing in contributing to resolving these challenges. In the field of project management, there is a saying: if the work is too big, break them down into chewable pieces. Similarly for us, our reflection should focus on what are these chewable pieces that we can do each day, each moment. As we demonstrate that we are doing these chewable pieces well, we influence through our actions, not just words or thoughts. We influence through outcomes, not just conceptual debates or discussions. And we influence through campaigns driven by compassion and wisdom instead of through anger and frustration. If collective karma planted in the past is the cause of our future crisis, then our opportunity is to mitigate them right now. Starts now means starting with us individually and eventually influence through demonstrating the fruits of success with the community. In a booklet titled The Buddhist Perspective on Life and Destiny by Venerable Master Xing Yun, there is a short section on how to change destiny. He described how views and perspectives, beliefs, building good relationships, and upholding precepts can help us in changing our destiny. The change can definitely be for the better or for the worse, and these areas deserve our daily moment-to-moment reflection and mindfulness. For the purpose of this record, I focus on two components: views and perspectives and building good relationships. Let's start with views and perspectives. In the booklet, Venerable Master Xing Yun emphasized the importance of right view. He gave the example of Adolf Hitler, particularly how his wrong views had brought great disaster to society, and the rippling effects continue to today in some communities. He emphasized that if we look at the world with compassion, that life is joyful, that the world is beautiful, the Saha world becomes a pure land. Conversely, if we look at the world with hatred, even a pure, pristine Buddha land will be transformed into a house on fire. A joyful destiny needs to be sustained through a series of joyful and positive view and perspectives. But some might mistaken this point made to be toxic positivity. But I think what Venerable is trying to describe here is more aligned to the concept of tragic optimism, a phrase coined by a psychologist and a Holocaust survivor, Viktor Frankl. In this concept, Viktor shared that it involves the search for meaning amid the inevitable tragedies of human existence. It is not the traumatic event itself that leads to growth, but rather how the event is processed, the changes in worldview that result from the event, and the active search for meaning that people undertake during and after it. I can understand that to hold on to an optimistic view and perspective in the midst of a crisis is really tough. One way I've tried to do it in my mind is to see life beyond one lifetime. In the past 50,000 years, the human civilization has evolved. While disasters happened, we cannot deny that the progression had brought significant positive ripples. As fellow Bodhisattvas wannabe, our views and perspectives should be broadened to the infinite span of lifetimes. Our mission is not just in the next decade or century, but like the numerous Bodhisattvas in the 10 directions, our mission of liberating ourselves and everyone should not have any fixed time span. This is emphasized in the Diamond Sutra. If a Bodhisattva has the notion of a self, the notion of others, the notion of sentient beings, or the notion of longevity or lifespan, then a person is not a Bodhisattva. The second aspect that was raised in the booklet by Venerable Master Xing Yun is building good relationships. And we can appreciate Venerable's emphasis on this point given that he embedded building positive affinities and relationships in the dedication of merit recitation. In the booklet, Venerable Master Hsing Yun shared that the sutras constantly emphasize that before learning the Buddhist teachings, we must work to establish good relationships. These good relationships will become key in bringing convenience in doing any tasks. And importantly, when we give to others, we're actually giving to ourselves. I recall when I was in secondary school, when I was doing well in my academic, I was very selfish in sharing my notes with my classmates. Looking back, it's really laughable, my own ignorance. In the university days, I decided to change my perspective. I started to share. I started to guide. I started to teach. And I realized that the teaching and sharing actually helped me to reinforce my understanding on the concepts. It convinced me when we give to others, we actually give to ourselves as well. But more broadly, what it does is that it blurs the lines of me and you, us and others. Take this sharing at this conference. It is not that I know more, but I'm thankful for this invitation because it gave me the opportunity to reflect and research and chance upon this booklet titled The Buddhist Perspective on Life and Destiny by Venerable Master Hsing Yun. I was given with this opportunity, and this opportunity gave me further opportunities to learn and reflect. And I hope that this will also spark similar ripples across all of you and the wider community. To me, building good relationships goes beyond those that are already within our communities, our circles. In the discourse of the Sutra on the 8 realizations of the great beings, it was said that when practicing generosity, Bodhisattvas considered everyone, friends, enemies alike, to be equal. They do not condemn anyone's past wrongdoings or hate even those presently causing harm. This, I believe, is the benchmark for building good relationships. So let me repeat the phrase again. When practicing generosity, Bodhisattvas consider everyone, friends and enemies alike, to be equal. They do not condemn anyone's past wrongdoings or hate even those presently causing harm. With this quote, I'm not going to reflect on what others are doing. With this quote, I ask myself, have I done it? If not, what can I do to achieve it? Because if I don't do it, then how will this world eventually be a better place? Talking about the discourse on the 8 realizations of great beings, there are really amazing points within this sutra to facilitate our daily prayers and reflections. It's like a checklist for us. There is also a commentary written by Venerable Master Hsing Yun on this sutra. And an introduction of that commentary shared that this sutra is an ideal starting point for those interested in Buddhism, as well as a faithful companion for those committed to the Buddhist practice. I hope this short sharing has been useful for all of us. I did not aim to provide a complex or deep analysis of the current global crisis, the geopolitical tensions, nor offer a crystal ball, if ever possible, into future scenarios. I'm not denouncing the importance of this analysis, but I feel that what the world is needing right now are real wholesome actions that mitigate current and future crises. And the wholesome action starts from us, and as us as ambassadors to the wider community. So thank you, and I look forward to engaging with all of you at the conference. And not forgetting, a great thanks to the organizers of this conference.